This fight didn't just happen out of nowhere. There's history here. These two already went at it before, back at UFC 313. And in that fight, Ankalaev straight up dominated. It wasn't some wild brawl or highlight reel finish. It was clinical. He shut Pereira down with pressure, wrestling, control, that classic suffocating pace. You could tell Pereira just couldn't get into rhythm, like he was trying to find that one perfect opening, but never really pulled the trigger. Ankalaev fought smart, stuck to fundamentals, kept distance, changed levels, and walked out with a unanimous decision and the belt on his shoulder. But here's the thing that people kind of overlooked after that fight. Pereira said he wasn't at 100%. He didn't make excuses, but you could feel it in his tone. He hinted that his body wasn't responding the way it should, that he was pushing through stuff, injuries, maybe overtraining, maybe just burnout. And that next time, if he came in healthy, things would look very different. That man looked like he had fire bottled up, like that loss didn't crush him. It reignited something. You could see it in his interviews, the way he carried himself, calm but focused, like a hunter waiting for the next chance. He said, "I'll make the adjustments." And the bettors bought into that story hard. You could see the confidence, people thinking lightning doesn't strike twice, that the grappler always beats the striker if he plays it smart. But then on the other side, you had Pereira, and man, that dude didn't care about the numbers, didn't care about the odds, didn't even flinch. He loved that underdog energy. You could tell he was feeding off it. The way he carried himself in interviews, the way he trained, it was like he had something personal to prove, not to the crowd, not even to Ankalaev, but to himself. He kept saying, "This time I'm healthy, this time I'm ready." And when a guy with his kind of knockout power says that, you pay attention. He wasn't emotional. He wasn't trying to hype the fight. He was just quietly confident, and that's scarier than trash talk. You could feel the shift brewing, like under all those betting odds, there was a tension building, that maybe the numbers didn't tell the full story. Because in MMA, the underdog isn't always weaker. Sometimes he's just the one who learned the lesson last time and came back with blood in his eyes. Man, the press conference before UFC 320 was absolute chaos, one of those classic high-tension, electricity in the air moments where you can literally feel the energy shifting before a single punch is even thrown. You had Ankalaev sitting there stone-faced as always, and on the other side, Pereira just radiating calm intensity like a predator who's already locked onto his target. The crowd was loud, half of them hyped for Pereira, half booing every time Ankalaev opened his mouth, and you could tell it was getting under his skin just a little bit, even though he tried to play it cool. Every time he spoke, the boos would drown out his translator, and you'd see that flicker of irritation, not panic, but that controlled kind of anger where a fighter's pride starts to heat up. And that's when Ankalaev dropped that line, "There is no more Chama, we killed it." Bro, that line was ice cold. For anyone who doesn't follow closely, Chama was Pereira's rally cry, kind of his personal war chant, his energy word, his symbol of fire and power. And when a striker like Pereira says that, it's not talk, it's a warning. So when the rematch was announced for UFC 320, it wasn't just another fight, it felt like unfinished business. One guy confident he already solved the puzzle, and the other obsessed with rewriting the story. That's the energy that makes these rematches so intense. Two elite fighters, same cage, but completely different mentalities colliding all over again. So dude, heading into UFC 320, the energy around this rematch was wild. Like everyone and their grandma had Ankalaev as the favorite. The betting lines were crazy tilted in his direction, and honestly, it made sense on paper. The guy had already beaten Pereira once. He looked technically sharper, more well-rounded, and he carried that stoic, unshakable vibe that just screams champion. The analysts were all saying the same thing. Ankalaev's going to do what he always does. Stay calm, pressure forward, neutralize the striking, take away Pereira's range, and drag him into deep waters. So when Ankalaev said that, he wasn't just talking trash. He was making a statement, trying to psychologically rip that identity away from him. It was a straight-up mind game, a way of saying, I already broke you once and I'll do it again. But here's the thing. Pereira didn't bite. He didn't yell back, didn't get emotional. He just stared through the guy, completely unbothered, almost smirking. And that right there was psychological warfare at its finest. Two completely different energies colliding. One man trying to assert dominance through words, and the other showing control through silence. And the crowd loved it. They were eating it up, booing, cheering, screaming, turning that presser into an emotional battlefield before the real one even started. You could tell the mental game had already begun. Ankalaev wanted to rattle him, wanted to remind him of that first loss, while Pereira was sitting there like a man who already knew how this story ends. It's those moments, man, those little exchanges before the cage even opens, that show you fighting isn't just physical. It's spiritual, psychological, primal. That press conference wasn't just hype. It was a chess match of confidence and control, and both guys thought they were winning before they even touched gloves. So this whole thing went down at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Man, the fight capital of the world, the mecca of combat sports, where legends are made and hearts get broken in real time under those bright lights. There's just something about that place, dude. The energy hits different the moment you walk in. You've got the smell of the canvas, the roar of the crowd, the flashing lights bouncing off that octagon. It's pure adrenaline. Vegas has seen every kind of fight you can imagine, the greatest knockouts, the craziest upsets, and the loudest fan reactions in the sport. And when UFC 320 rolled around, you could tell from the start, it wasn't just another event. It felt massive, like the kind of night people will still be talking about years from now. The moment the camera panned across the arena, you could see celebrities ringside, former champs, fighters, analysts. Everybody wanted to witness this one live. The atmosphere was thick with tension, that electric buzz that tells you something special is about to happen. And being the headliner, that's no small thing. It means all the lights are on you, all the pressure, all the expectation. Ankalaev walking out, stoic, calm, locked in. Pereira following with that tribal-focused energy like he was walking into war. The crowd split right down the middle, half chanting, half booing, but everyone locked in. You could feel that Vegas magic, man. There's no crowd like a Vegas crowd when the stakes are this high. Every cheer, every gasp, every oh when a punch lands, it amplifies the moment. That arena turns into a living, breathing organism, and that night it was hungry for violence, redemption, and history. Man, right from the opening bell, Pereira came out like a damn storm. No hesitation, no feeling out process, just pure aggression. You could tell he made a decision before that fight even started. He wasn't going to let Ankalaev breathe, wasn't going to give him that calm, calculated space he loves to operate in. Pereira just marched forward, cutting off the cage, forcing Ankalaev backward, and every step he took carried bad intentions. Those leg kicks, dude, they were vicious. You could hear them echo through the arena, cracking against Ankalaev's lead leg like a baseball bat. And that's the genius of Pereira, man. It's not just wild power, it's surgical violence. He knows if he kills your base, your whole game falls apart. Ankalaev tried to get his jab going, tried to create distance, but Pereira kept chopping him down, circling just enough to trap him near the fence. You could see Ankalaev's movement slowing, his stance getting heavier, and that's when Pereira started stalking the big shot. That signature left hook of doom, loaded and waiting. It was pressure with purpose, man. Pure predator energy, all forward motion, no wasted movement, and zero respect for Ankalaev's comfort zone. Dude, the finish was absolutely insane. One of those moments that makes you jump out of your seat and just yell, holy shit. Pereira was in full killer mode, stalking Ankalaev like a sniper waiting for that one clean opening, and then boom, he found it. A massive right hand straight down the pipe, landed flush on Ankalaev's chin, and you could see his whole body short circuit for a split second before he hit the canvas. It wasn't just a knockdown, man. It was like watching the lights go out in real time. Pereira didn't even hesitate. He pounced like a lion, raining down brutal ground and pound, elbows slicing through guard, hammer fists landing heavy, and Herb Dean had no choice but to step in. The entire arena just exploded, 20,000 people losing their minds as it all ended in just about 80 seconds. That's the thing about Pereira. You can be winning, you can have a plan, but all it takes is one mistake, one clean shot, and he'll make you pay for it instantly. That power is terrifying, man. It's that rare, freakish, fight-ending kind of power that reminds you why this sport is so unpredictable, so raw, and so damn beautiful. What's wild about this fight, man, is how completely it flipped from their first meeting. Like a total role reversal. Back at UFC 313, Ankalaev was the one dictating everything. He was calm, composed, mixing in his grappling, perfectly controlling the distance, and shutting Pereira down before he could even get that left hook off. It was classic Ankalaev, pressure with purpose, using that sambo base to smother the danger and make the striker look hesitant. But at UFC 320, this time he was the one pressing forward, cutting off angles, forcing Ankalaev to react instead of lead. It's crazy how fast that momentum can shift in MMA, the same guy who looked unshakable before suddenly looked like he couldn't find his rhythm. Pereira didn't let him breathe. He didn't overcommit either. He just kept the pace uncomfortable. Ankalaev, who's usually the hunter, became the hunted, and that's when everything fell apart. That's the beauty of high-level fighting, man. One adjustment, one mental switch, and the dynamic changes completely. Pereira took what beat him last time and turned it into his own weapon, showing that evolution is the deadliest skill a fighter can have. Man, what really hit me after that knockout wasn't just the finish. It was what Pereira did after. The dude could have gone full hype mode, could have screamed, flexed, talked about revenge or redemption, but instead he took this quiet, powerful route that just stopped everyone in their tracks. He stood there in the middle of the octagon, calm as ever, and instead of making it about himself, he dedicated the moment to Arthur Jones, John Jones's late brother. That was heavy, man. You could feel the respect, the humanity in that. It wasn't performative, it was genuine. That's the thing about Pereira, dude. For all the violence, all the chaos he brings inside that cage, there's this deep spiritual energy to him. He fights like a warrior, but he feels like a monk. And then he drops that line saying this victory proves he was only at 40% the first time around, and you're like, damn, maybe he wasn't lying. He looked like a completely different animal in there. That statement wasn't arrogance, it was truth, it was validation, it was him saying, now you've seen me at full power. That mix of humility, respect, and dominance, that's rare, man. That's greatness. So this win, man, it wasn't just another knockout. It was a career-defining moment for Pereira. He walked out of that cage as the new light heavyweight champion, reclaiming the belt that slipped away from him before, and doing it in the most emphatic, statement-making way possible. You could feel the shift in the whole division right there. Everyone watching knew the hierarchy just changed again. Pereira reminded everyone that he's not just a kickboxer who made it to MMA. He's a generational talent, a dude who can adapt, evolve, and destroy at the highest level. But for Ankalaev, man, this is one of those brutal crossroads. It's his first loss in a long time. And not just a loss, a knockout, quick, decisive, hard to rationalize. That kind of defeat does something to you. It makes you question everything, your approach, your mindset, even your identity as a fighter. And now the big questions start flying. Do we see a trilogy? Can Ankalaev mentally recover from this and rebuild? And who's next for Pereira? Because right now he looks untouchable, but this sport moves fast. One moment you're on top of the world, and the next the whole division's gunning for your head. Man, this fight was the perfect reminder of what makes MMA so damn special and so unforgiving. You can train for months, you can have the perfect game plan, study every angle, every setup, and still in this sport, all it takes is one perfect shot and it's over in 80 seconds. That's the chaos, that's the beauty. It's what separates MMA from everything else, the pure unpredictability of it. What we saw in there was a lesson in adjustments and mindset. Pereira didn't need a new body or new skills. He just needed the right attitude, the right aggression, the right timing, and he flipped the script completely. It's insane how fast things can turn when confidence meets precision. And it's also this massive reminder, man, never count a fighter out. Just because someone takes a loss doesn't mean they're done. Sometimes that loss is exactly what wakes them up, sharpens them, reignites that fire. Pereira showed that the ability to come back from defeat and rewrite the story in devastating fashion. That's what fighting's about, man. Redemption, chaos, evolution. It's not just about who hits harder. It's about who learns faster and refuses to break.